Hong Kong on a Sunday, where unfortunately a lot of Filipino domestic workers do not have a proper resting place on their treasured days off. It is baffling that our kababayans, modern-day heroes, have to leave their families and still have to endure these conditions. Most OFWs walk through streets like these, and while giving them a proper resting place would alleviate much of their struggles, we have the capacity to do more. By allowing OFWs to take up higher education, a large OFW issue is resolved, while allowing them to fulfill their aspirations in educational capacity. There are over 2.2 million OFWs in the world. 200,000 of those reside here in Hong Kong. About 10% of Hong Kong households has an OFW member. Out of these 200,000 domestic workers in Hong Kong, the majority do not have college degrees, and most are under the age of 40. Most of them gave up the opportunity to pursue college so that they can provide for their families at an early age. This is where Fulfill can fill the void. OFWs should not be restricted to their jobs and given the opportunity to pursue higher education.
This is why I founded Fulfill earlier this year. Online education is revolutionary, allowing students to study anytime, anywhere. So instead of spending their Sundays off in the streets of Central, our modern-day heroes can be more productive by pursuing higher education while still maintaining their own jobs. Fulfill intends to use a room in the Bayanihan Center where students can share learnings. Similarly, when I visited the Bayanihan Center, I discovered that the demand for online college education was so high, yet no college courses were being offered.
This is the Bayanihan Center, a place where foreign domestic helpers can use for recreational activities.
Through a partnership with the Bayanihan Center, Fulfill will be able to use the Bayanihan Center's facilities for OFWs who want to learn together or those who simply do not have devices. This is an example of one of the classrooms here in the Bayanihan Center. Through your donations, Fulfill will be able to provide OFWs with higher education so that they can spend their Sundays more productively and have a brighter future.
While online education from the Philippines can be accessed anywhere, it is expensive at approximately $1,000 a year. OFWs cannot afford this as they also have to provide for their families back home. Fulfill is seeking corporate and individual donors, as well as online education providers to provide for these scholarships. Fulfill will cover 50% of the tuition. We expect online education schools to provide a 30% scholarship discount. The rest, which is 20%, will be covered by OFWs themselves so they can show personal commitment to this endeavor. With a minimum wage of approximately $600 a month or $7,200 a year, each OFW would only be contributing approximately 5% of their own income. After their graduation, we expect their salaries to go up by at least 3 times. According to Hong Kong Business, fresh graduates in Hong Kong have an average salary of approximately $15,000 a month. As part of this pilot project, I hope to raise funds for 20 scholarships for 4 years, which is approximately $40,000. And thanks to the generosity of an early donor, 2 have already been fully funded. For the rest of the 18 scholarships, I'm looking for approximately $36,000. In the end, OFWs enrolled in the program and their families back home will be better off and more financially stable. Your generous support is of utmost importance so that our kababayans can fulfill their maximum potential, helping themselves and their families back home. This is only the beginning in changing the lives of OFWs. By next year, Fulfills is looking forward to expanding our reach by doubling the number of scholarships. I hope you can join me in this pursuit to help our modern-day heroes.
Ten minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Siguro ito yung youngest na guest natin dito, no? Oh, sabi ni Jean.
Well,
Would you say, he's the youngest?
He is. Oh.
He's the youngest. Sa araw na ito, kami po ay nagagalak. Siguro napanood nyo na po, yung kanyang video. Pagpasensyahan nyo na ho. Kasi sa araw na ito, medyo hindi ho siya bihasa talagang magtagalog. Kinakabahan po siya. Ayoko naman po hawakan yung kamay niya sa harap ninyo. so bibigyan natin siya pagkakataon to explain how he's actually come up with this particular project called Fulfills. Please welcome Emilio.
Thank you very much, Kuya Mike.
O yan, Tagalog na yun ha, Kuya Mike.
Yeah, that's enough, I think.
Okay, Emilio, let me ask you, how did this whole thing evolve, yung fulfills? Nung umpisa ba, fulfills na siya? You can answer me in English, ha? Okay lang.
Well, honestly, it started because I lived in the Philippines all my life, for 13 years. And then in 2021, my family and we moved to Hong Kong in the middle of the pandemic. And I wasn't really familiar with the concept of OFWs. I wasn't even aware of the term OFW. I think the most, I'll just see it in the airport, in immigration, OFW
that's it,
line
that's it,
here.
that's
Yeah,
it.
that's
No.
it. But I never even thought twice about it. And then on the streets of Central, even during the world's stringent lockdown, I would see thousands of domestic helpers on the streets of Central. And it made me question myself. I said, wait, they're Filipino. I'm also Filipino. But why are they here? Because I thought, as a Filipino, I was in a unique place in Hong Kong, surrounded by Chinese culture. But no, actually, every Sunday, there's like a little Philippines every week in Central. And so seeing our kababayans on the streets of Central, it made me ask, why are they here on the streets? And I soon learned that stigmatism is generated by a lot of Hong Kong society when they see OFWs on the streets like this. And in turn, it affects us Filipinos, because they think, oh, Filipinos, those are the ones on the streets of Central. And that's all they remember. And so I wanted to think of ways as to how to uplift the lives of the Filipino, to provide them with an opportunity to hopefully be more than what they are now. Because a lot of the time, these domestic helpers, they're in their situation not because they want to be, but because of the unfortunate reality of the lack of resources they're provided. So I want to be there for them to provide those resources that they so need to hopefully be whatever they want to be.
You're not a teenager that loves playing games electronically and all that stuff. Because ang isip mo ngayon is more of kapakanan, di ba? Or for the well-being of
Yes.
our kababayans.
Yes.
And what was that giant step and said, this is it. I'm putting my foot down and I'm going to do this.
Yeah. So after seeing Filipinos, OFW specifically, on the streets of Central, I wasn't familiar with them. So I began to ask questions like the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, right? And then after I did my research and found all of those out, I had to think of the how to uplift them, how to help them. And I found that the only and best way to do that is through education.
Was there any other choice
No.
aside from education? You really
Yes.
pinned it to education.
And for me, I've been blessed with an education, and so many of these domestic helpers haven't. Like my own yaya, she only went up to grade 6. And hearing her story made me question, why is it that I'm provided with an education and she's not? And so I want to fill that gap, hence fulfill the gap in their education and fulfill their educational requirements.
So what was the first step? Making the name. How did you choose the name Fulfills?
Well, after my research,
Was there any other names that
yes,
came out?
yes. Actually, to be very honest,
Yeah.
I wanted fulfill.
Oh, okay.
And then we tried to get SEC registered in the Philippines,
Uh-huh.
and they were like, "No, fulfill is already taken." Like I think you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So fulfills it became, and I think it works because a lot of people just shortcut the name Philippines for fills.
Correct.
And the reason I came up with it is because during my research I discovered that there are already a lot of organizations here in Hong Kong that support domestic helpers, whether it's like financial literacy or helping abused domestic helpers here in Hong Kong. But I wanted to make it clear that this organization that I'm starting is by the Filipino and for the Filipino. And that's why I wanted to make sure it was clear even in our name. And so I was thinking, Phil. Oh, what can I do with this? I googled what word has Phil in it, and I was like, oh, fulfill, and it's perfect because even when I was like writing my plan for fulfills, I was already putting fulfill a lot in the details and what I wanted to do, and so it worked out perfectly.
What a match.
Yeah.
What a match.
Tinder match.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know who JD Siendo is. may fan ka na. Sabi niya, we love you, Emilio. Oh, kita mo
Thank
yan, ha?
you. Thank you. I love you too.
And what are those resources? Siyempre, it won't just come from, like I was mentioning earlier, it won't come from your endowment fund or your pocket.
Yeah.
So how did you actually put together all these people or organizations to actually fund you?
Well, like everything, I had to start somewhere. And so I started with a plan. And I approached a lot of people. To be honest, I sent a lot of cold emails
Okay.
to a lot of organizations here in Hong Kong, to a lot of companies and institutions. And a lot of them read my email and didn't reply. A lot of them probably archived or marked it as spam. But eventually, I hit the jackpot with some of them. And some organizations and some institutions really saw our vision. And even despite us being a very young organization,
Literally young organization.
literally young, like 1 month old actually, they were like, okay, I want to take a chance on this cause,
Okay.
and I'm very grateful for that.
And, well, your name Baha carries a little bit of weight too. Because
Yes,
of your
yes.
grandfather.
Yes.
Your
Yes, sir.
grandfather was a former ambassador and a former permanent fixture in the United Nations. Did that give you some of the inspiration to create Fulfills?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was surrounded by him, who would always tell me stories about his time working with the UN, and I would hear certain problems and issues going around in the world. But 6-year-old me couldn't care
Yeah,
less,
right.
right? But as soon as I grew older, I kept hearing the same things, and I thought, wow, there are really so many issues and problems in the world. And the issues and problems that he was also focused on were about OFWs and Filipinos, not just in the Philippines, but around the world. And so I think that might have sparked something in me to also do what I'm doing now.
Wow. Okay. Kung may mga katanungan po kayo, follow the thread. Sabi nga dito ni si Lagon Paray. Wow. So brilliant idea, Emilio.
Well, you have one of the scholars are
Oh.
watching.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hazel.
Hazel.
Oh, Hazel.
Sabi niya dito.
Hi, Hazel.
The Wanderer, sabi niya. That's probably her name in Facebook. Hello, Founder Emilio. Founder Emilio.
Founder.
Kala ko Lauro yung umpisa mo ngayon. Ngayon, tatanggalin na
I'll
natin
change
Lauro.
my name.
Ano na? Founder ka na.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on that, you did a presentation, of course, to different organizations and individuals. So far, maliho yung aking nakalap na impormasyon. 13 na pala ang scholars niya. Okay, let's go deep into that 13. How did you manage to actually get that funding right at an early stage?
Yeah. Well, like I was saying earlier, I really just had to blast emails out to everyone. I made a Fulfills primer, which
Okay.
is a long, like 15-page document.
Oh my goodness.
Like detailing the story, the facts, the plan, everything Fulfills in my vision. Even when we had $0 in our bank account. But I sent it along with an email to organizations and companies and foundations, hoping to partner with us. And honestly, it took a while for a lot of organizations to see us. We were officially SEC registered in the Philippines, I think March 2023.
Okay, that was last year.
And I was sending emails March, April, May, June, July, August. I think our first donation only came in maybe October.
And this came from an organization?
From an individual.
Yeah.
And we really tried to leverage social media, especially in the digital age, to reach as many people as possible. And it also, I think, boosts our credibility. And so we were able to show this to different possible corporate sponsors and individual donors to say, hey, here are the OFWs on the streets. It's like a visualization of their situation, because also a lot of people in the Philippines aren't aware of how OFWs are on the streets every Sunday. And so I really wanted to make it my mission to show them the reality, and from that reality, I was hoping that they would believe in our cause in providing OFWs with education.
What did you learn within that 6 months period that no one was coming in and addressing your need?
Yeah.
What did you learn from there? I mean, it seems that you did not really give up.
Yeah.
Your persistence was getting, really stronger and stronger. I mean, for a young age like this who only thinks about games on your phone
Yeah.
or Instagram or whatsoever,
Yeah.
what was your strength?
Yeah. Well, Fulfills is my game. It's my video game. I play with it.
Well, who knows? It might be a video
Yeah,
game.
maybe in the future.
So that was it.
No, I think for me, I just had to think about why I was doing it. I thought of the different possible realities and the different futures I could provide for our potential scholars, which we had none of at the time. And I was thinking, if I could even just get one donation and put it towards one scholar, that's enough for me. I just want to do my part in my own way to help uplift the Filipino.
One small step.
Exactly. One small step for a man.
Well, it now is 13.
Yes.
So they've started already.
Yeah.
And what's the fulfillment like?
I think it's great. Well, now I'm living in the Philippines, but every time I come to Hong Kong, I see them, and like seeing their bright and happy and smiling faces, telling me, "Oh, naka 2 trimesters na ako." I'm like, "Wow, already." And just
Is there a
seeing,
specific course that they're actually taking?
yeah. So anything from bachelor's in real estate management to bachelor's in financial management systems, like anything and everything you could possibly think of.
And this
there.
is all done online.
Yes, that's correct.
And which institution are you linked on to?
Currently, our first online education provider is AMA University.
Okay.
But we're
Which
excited.
is actually the first ever school
Yes.
that started as a computer school.
Yes.
A small computer school,
exactly, exactly.
right? Wow.
Yeah. So we're very happy to have them.
Mm-hmm.
And soon we're going to be partnering with other schools, like the Philippine Women's University and even the University of the Philippines through their program, Open University.
So now, what's next out of, if you're 13, what's the next objective? Because you were saying in the initial video that we actually showed, you were just saying, oh, siguro 3 lang or 4 lang muna, okay
Yeah.
na, di ba?
Yeah.
Ngayon, 13 na eh.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that will branch out of the 13, or you will just continue on?
I think for me, my goal now is to just maximize impact and see how many OFWs I can help and how many lives I can change. And so if that means adding more scholars, I'd be like, I'm not complaining. Give me all the scholars.
And the funding, of course.
Yes, and the funding.
Yeah.
Well, scholars can't come without funding. So, but I think in the future, we're also looking to branch out to other places, not just Hong Kong. Because after I learned about the significant presence of domestic helpers and specifically OFWs in Hong Kong, I also learned that they're also so very prevalent in other countries as well. For example, Singapore, for example, many places in the Middle East like Dubai and Saudi Arabia. And so if we can expand this mission and this dream to other countries, I'd be more than happy.
Okay, well, we have a listener already in Italy. We have a listener in Sweden who knows that could actually open the door.
Maybe you're our next scholar. Apply now.
I'd like to be able to, if Wonder, or what's her name?
Hazel.
Hazel, if you have the chance to give us a call, tawagan nyo kami sa 6641-8811. Nandito nga yung telepono ko eh. 6641-8811. Siya yung una eh, di ba? Siya yung unang, is she the first?
She was part of our second batch.
Second batch na. Or whoever is, sino man nakikinig sa atin. But if Hazel will be able to call us, we'd like to hear how she felt eh. Also, di ba?
Yeah, that would be great.
To be able to hear how she felt and all that stuff. Ito na, si Diane is asking, how do I apply?
Well, Diane, it's pretty simple. Just go to www.fulfills.org and you can click Be a Scholar, and there should be a form right at the
you
bottom.
just point down here.
Oh,
There. It's
Here.
rolling now. It's scrolling. Right there.
Right here.
Yeah, right there. Okay. So, yun. Si Tita Edna in Milan is saying, here also in Milan. Yan na. Meron na. So, bumubukas na yung opportunity mo. Sabi ni Evangeline dito, Bopis, sabi niya, your goal, your determination to help other people and loving what you are doing is very rare. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you very
Sa
much.
susunod, tatagalugin niya na yon.
Maraming salamat po.
Sabi ni Tita Gertrudes, may age limit ba ito? I'm interested to study again. Is there an
Well,
age limit?
Here at Fulfills, we don't discriminate any
Okay.
age, any gender, anything.
Okay.
You may just see us at www.fulfills.org.
Okay, so just down there. Okay, sino pa ba dito? Remember my co-host, right?
Yes.
Corleen. Sabi niya, kudos, Emilio. You are such an inspiration. Okay.
Thank you very much.
So lahat ito, sabi naman ni Tita Josie, you're such a genius. Is that true?
Well, don't see my grades in school.
No. Wag nating pag-usapan yung grades.
Yeah.
Nandito si Mom and Dad. Okay. Yun ang sinasabi na paano ba bang mag-apply? Just check out the Instagram, the Facebook, and the website right on our ticker para malaman niyo po siya. No? And like what we said, what's the next to this? Once they graduate, like you were explaining on one of your your presentation earlier, that it actually increases their opportunity to 3 times of what their basic salary is here.
Yeah.
Would they actually want to go home or go somewhere else? That's an opportunity that they have to venture in.
Yes.
No.
That's true.
So the inspiration is the seed that you place in front of them.
Yes.
So it's really up to them to actually take that challenge.
Yes.
How difficult is it to see them actually take the challenge? Your encouraging words, is that enough?
Honestly, I'm very inspired by them, because after speaking to them, I can hear their stories, and each and every one of our scholars, they're so determined that we all know domestic helpers, their work is very tedious, it's very long. Each and every one of them put their blood, sweat, and tears into their work, and even after that, all 13 of our scholars choose to learn and choose to educate themselves. And so what I've learned is that, for example, if they have to start working and, for example, prepare breakfast for their alagas at 6 a.m., they'll wake up at 4 a.m. And then study 2 hours from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then they'll work the entire day, and then maybe 1 hour lunch break. They'll study instead of scrolling on Facebook. And then once they're done with work, for example, maybe 9 p.m., they'll spend 9 p.m. to 12 midnight, studying. And then they'll wake up again at 4 a.m. And it's just this consistent determination and diligence, and I'm so inspired by them. I'm thinking to myself, I can't fail in school.
After putting fulfills, right? How am I with my physics?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, inspiring words coming from a young and talented guy in Emilio.